Thank you for joining me on today's episode of the Simply Financial podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Calandra. Want to increase your financial IQ with today's episode. Admittedly, today's episode, and this will be a brief discussion, is a little narrow in focus. I want to talk about a qualified domestic relations order, QDRO for short. That's QDRO. It's a legal document that's used in the case of divorce oftentimes. It establishes the division of retirement assets between divorcing spouses. It's typically used in the United States in cases where a couple's getting divorced and one or both parties have retirement assets such as 401ks or a pension plan. An important note, these are retirement plans that are issued through or sponsored through your employer. A QDRO is only applicable in instances where you're dealing with employer-sponsored retirement plans. Again, 401ks and pension plans are prime examples. So a QDRO is necessary to divide retirement assets such that you don't incur tax penalties, early withdrawal fees, or taxes, because the QDRO allows for a transfer of a portion or all of the retirement benefits from one spouse to the other by creating a separate account for the non-employee spouse. This division of assets is usually done to ensure that both parties receive a fair share of the marital property. As you might expect, this is part of the wrangling that happens between divorcing couples as they, either the two of them or maybe in concert with a mediator, attorneys, the court, try to figure out a way to equitably split the assets. So a QDRO is usually prepared by an attorney or a qualified professional who specialize in family law, divorces, that kind of thing. It's a special area of the law, as you can tell. It must meet specific requirements outlined in ERISA. ERISA stands for the Employee Retirement Income Security Act. I know that's a mouthful, but basically that's the governing guidelines that 401ks and pension plans operate under. And of course, the IRS must view the QDRO as being valid such that the transfer can take place without any tax or penalties. Once a QDRO is approved by the court and the retirement plan administrator, the company that the employer has hired to handle the running of the plan administrator can divide up the retirement benefits as dictated by the QDRO. Usually it will specify either an amount or a percentage of the assets, depend on the circumstances. As I said, it's very important to note that a QDRO only applies to retirement plans that are governed by ERISA, 401ks, pension plans, once again, being prime examples. You might be asking what happens for retirement accounts that are not covered by ERISA, things like IRAs, Roth IRAs, and traditional IRAs. The mechanism for splitting those assets up is not a QDRO, but rather the divorce decree itself, which is certified by the court. An IRA custodian, if presented with a court-authorized divorce decree, will split up retirement assets. Say half the Roth IRA goes to one spouse, the other half stays with the previous owner of the IRA. The IRA custodians will do it through a divorce decree that's certified by the courts. You would not use a QDRO in that situation. As I'm sure you could tell, it's common for couples to maybe have some assets through the employer that would be governed by a QDRO, and others that are IRAs that would be governed by the divorce decree certified by the court. So it depends on the circumstances. But I did want to share with you what a QDRO is. I also will say at the conclusion here, as we kind of begin to wrap up, just kind of a wacky sort of thing. As a financial planner, having worked with clients now for over 30 years, I always find it a little uncomfortable when clients explain to me they're getting divorced. The reason for the discomfort is I am not sure whether I should congratulate them because in some instances it is something that they're going to be celebrating. And in other examples, I would be saying, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. They might be disappointed. They might be hurt. I'm always a little uncomfortable. I want to be empathetic at all times, put myself in the client's shoes so that I could serve them well. It's one of the areas, and there's not a ton of them, where I tend to be a little uncomfortable because I don't know how to react given the sensitivity that a divorce brings. So that is today's episode on QDROs, Qualified Domestic Relation Order. I hope you found the information valuable. Please check out our website, elliottwealth.com, for more information about me and the team and how we help our clients win with money. And also, I always ask to subscribe to this podcast if you haven't done so already. I would really appreciate that. And I will be back with you on the next episode of the Simply Financial podcast very soon. Have a great day.
The views expressed are not necessarily the opinion of SagePoint Financial Incorporated and should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risks, including loss of principal invested. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. No strategy can assure a profit nor protect against loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information should be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice. Please note, the information being provided is strictly as a courtesy. When you link to any of the websites provided here, you are leaving this website. We make no representation as to the completeness or accuracy of the information provided at these websites, nor is the company liable for any direct or indirect technical or system issues or any consequences arising out of your access to your use of third-party technologies, websites, information, and programs made available through this website. When you access one of these websites, you are leaving our website and assume total responsibility and risk for your use of the websites you are linking to. Securities and advisory services are offered through SagePoint Financial Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC. Insurance services offered through Elliott Wealth Management, LLC, not affiliated with SagePoint Financial.